Now's the time that we've all been waiting for. Okay. Flew through those announcements kind of quick. I apologize if you're brand new and you're like, oh, this guy's talking too fast. But I wanted to spend a lot of time tonight on the 8 steps to a bulletproof mindset. And I don't really do a lot of mindset trainings. Okay. Many of you that have worked with me, mainly if you work with me for a while, some of you I know have worked with me for many years. Um, I can't remember the last time I did a mindset training. And the reason being is because I don't like to talk about it. I just do it. Right. But I think this information tonight, when we talk about a bulletproof mindset, is really going to set you up for massive success in your journey in Riman. And a lot of people, they realize that this is where it's all at. Okay. This is where it's all at. And it really starts with your why. Okay. Everything starts with your why. So the first step to a bulletproof mindset is asking yourself this question: does your why make you cry? Does your why make you cry? And sometimes when you talk to people about their why, they'll tell you what their what is. It's not your what, it's why you want the what you want. It's that emotional connection. And if you've ever seen any type of a training on whys or goals, this one might speak to your heart a little bit differently tonight when I talk about step number one. And the reason being is because I'm going to ask you this question: what would get you to fight a Bengal tiger? Why would you fight a Bengal tiger? Some of you are like, Tim, I would never fight a Bengal tiger. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you fight a Bengal tiger? I'd fight a Bengal tiger in a split second. If my wife was in the room and a tiger walked in there, without hesitation, I would go. I wouldn't even hesitate. I would run at that Bengal tiger immediately. And think about the people in your life that you would fight a Bengal tiger for, right? I would fight a Bengal tiger for my wife. You know, my kids, right? I'd fight a Bengal tiger for my kids. Okay, these are my kids. Everybody knows I'll fight a Bengal tiger for my kids, no matter what. Okay, no matter what. My daughter is about to have a baby too as well. You think I wouldn't fight a Bengal tiger for that baby? You better believe I would. That's your why. You're not going to fight a Bengal tiger for a stack of money unless you're just crazy. But I'll fight a Bengal tiger for my kids. I fight a Bengal tiger for my wife. I fight a Bengal tiger for my family. I fight a Bengal tiger for my family all day long without a hesitation. I'll go fight a Bengal tiger for my family. Why would you fight a Bengal tiger? See, this is my family right here. I'll fight a Bengal tiger. Let me tell you why I fight a Bengal tiger. I'll fight a Bengal tiger for my community. I'm not, I'm dead serious when I talk about this. I'll fight a Bengal tiger all day long for you. You've got to find out what your why is. It's not, uh, I want to pay, I want to be able to buy a new car. You're not going to fight a Bengal tiger for a new car. You got to find out what your why is. You got to find out what would drive you to fight a Bengal tiger. And that's, to me, is what it's all about. So let me give you six keys to understanding your why, right? Your why is going to be your bridge over troubled waters, right? When you run into challenges, you got to remember why you started, right? When the why is strong, guess what? The how is easy. If we do it, it doesn't really matter. We'll figure it out. But if we know why we're doing it, we're going to get the job done. And understand, it's not what you want, it's the emotional connection to why you want it. Like, I can remember, you guys, when I was my why for a long time was to get a Lamborghini, right? And I can remember when I was in 7th grade, when we were homeless, my mom would pick us up in this truck that we slept in, and it had a little camper shell on it, and all of our clothes were in the back. And I can remember when she would pick me up from middle school and how I would feel embarrassed to get in that car. And I said, you know what? I want to be able to pick my kids up from middle school I'm in that scenario, so they don't have to be embarrassed. And I remember I worked so hard to get that Lamborghini. When I picked my son up in 7th grade in that Lamborghini, he literally the next day came to me and said, "Dad, don't ever do it again." He goes, the kids were making fun of me, calling me a rich kid. I was like, it was my why, it wasn't his why, but it drove me to step out of my comfort zone. Like, today, I don't really care about cars. But back then I did because I had that reason. When I got involved in network marketing, when I was 17 years old, Miss Mitchell told me I couldn't do it. She told me that I couldn't make it happen. She goes, those things don't work, and they definitely don't work for people like you. You're the worst kid. She was my English teacher. She was the worst kid I've ever taught. So I wrote on my card ESMM. I wrote a little gold card, and I kept it in my pocket, and then put another one on my mirror that you would open up. I had a little 1986 orange Nissan Pulsar that my brother-in-law gave me, and I put it right there on the mirror. It said ESMM, and Miss Mitchell was my motivation. She was what drove me. Because every time that I felt like I wanted to quit, or every time I would come into a challenge or something, what would be an obstacle, and it was a challenge, and I didn't view them as opportunities back then. I really looked at them as challenges. I always remember Miss Mitchell telling me that. So I focused. I said, I'm going to get, this company was giving away Mercedes Benzes. I go, I'm going to get a Mercedes Benz, and I'm going to drive up to Miss Mitchell. And I wrote it down, ESMM. And that's what drove me. And I can remember whenever my mentor, it's on my Instagram account, when my mentor gave me the keys to that brand new Mercedes, I was 18 years old. First place that I went to was Woodbridge High School, where I went to school. And I went and saw Miss Mitchell. And I went into her classroom. I had a Versace suit on. The picture's on there, man. I had a Versace suit on, brand new Versace suit, dialed in, right? I was wearing probably about $10,000 of the clothes. And I knocked on the door. Miss Mitchell opened up. She didn't even recognize me. And she said, how can I help you? I said, it's me. It's Tim. She goes, Tim, her? She goes, I heard rumors that you were doing well. I didn't know it was this good. And I brought her down, and I got into that. I opened up the Mercedes Benz. I go, I got to show you something. And I shut the door. This is during class. She said, boy, she told her class, just keep reading. And she got in that Mercedes Benz, the door closed on its own, right? And we got in that car, and I said, eat something, Miss Mitchell, right? I didn't say something. I said another word that starts with an S, but that was what drove me. And that might not, revenge was what it was for me, because I wanted to show her that I could do it. Now, looking back at it, I realized that it wasn't to prove her wrong. It was to prove me right. And it was very probably not noble. And I look back on it and I kind of am embarrassed by it. But the reality was, that's what drove me at the beginning, was when she told me that I couldn't do it, that these things didn't work, that I would never make it. That's what was my bridge over troubled waters at the beginning. But what I realized, what my motivation is and why I work so hard, is because of how poor I was growing up. In the back of my mind, a monster is always there. So I've been on the top of the schoolhouse. At the time, I didn't care about it. Now, there's that monster that's out there. In the back of my mind, there's never enough. So I just keep on keeping on, keep on keeping on, keep on keeping on. Because I want to make sure that my family never has to go through what I experienced. That's my why. Find out what's going to drive you. Because you're going to run into challenges. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be, oh my God, da, 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 da. You're going to have challenges along the way. But your why is what's going to keep you in the game. So write it down where you can see it every day. Reach into the future for inspiration. I used to visualize that, man. I remember when my 1986 orange Pulsar broke, and I was taking the bus to the meetings, man. I was literally taking bus to the meetings. I was living a nightmare and selling a dream. But I visualized myself in that Mercedes Benz. I visualized that moment telling Miss Mitchell to go do what I said. And I'm telling you guys that you got to reach into the future for inspiration sometimes, right? And act as if it was impossible to fail. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I was going to get it done. I knew it. Nothing could stop me. So you've got to find out what's going to motivate you. What's going to be your why, right? So that's number one. Number two, for developing a bulletproof mindset, is always, you got to have a growth mindset. There are two types of mindsets, right? There's a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Right? There's a book called The Talent Code where I learned this, right? By Daniel Coyle. And there's another book by Carol S. Dweck called Mindset. This is where I really kind of took a deep dive into what understanding a growth mindset. Literally today, when I read that book, when it came out, today we're in Oregon going to meet with the coaches over at Oregon State for my son for football. And the reason why my son is who he is today in football is obviously he worked his butt off, but it was me guiding him through the book, the principles that I learned. I homeschooled him from first grade till high school. And the things that I learned in that book is what helped shape his destiny. And I learned how to put a growth mindset into my son. So this stuff that I'm talking about today, this is not just about Riman. This is about stuff that will help you out in all areas of your life. So let's jump into what a growth mindset looks like, right? So a fixed mindset, people think that talent is fixed, right? A growth mindset understands that talent is learned, okay? Talent is learned. Now, Some people might have natural inclinations, but all talent can be learned. I definitely didn't have the talent that I have today by any other way that I learned. How did I learn it? By getting out of my comfort zone. And it was literally what I learned in the talent code. So here's another thing is that fixed mindset people, they get discouraged by criticism, right? Growth mindset people, they get responsive to criticism, right? Most people would rather be saved. Most people would rather be, saved by praised, right? Or most people, what is not Napoleon Hill, but Power of Positive Thinking, Norman Vincent Peale. Most people would rather be ruined by praise than saved by criticism, right? Most people just want praise. They don't want criticism. They want people that are going to just say yes to you, right? You don't want people that are going to challenge you. That's a fixed mindset, right? If you have a growth mindset, you want criticism. You want to know how you can get better, right? Here's another one. People that have a fixed mindset are just looking for results. But people with a growth mindset, they're excited about the process. They want to develop their skills. They want to grow through the process, right? People with a fixed mindset, they desire approval. People that have a growth mindset, they enjoy the growth and journey. They're excited about the journey. They're excited about the growth that they're getting. They're not looking for approval. They're looking for the journey, right? And then here's another thing about fixed mindset. Failure to them is the worst thing ever. Okay? But growth mindset people, it's an opportunity to be able to learn from their mistakes. Fixed mindset people avoid challenges. Growth mindset view challenges as opportunities. Major distinction between the two. So you'll see people that will run into challenges and they don't like them. And then for myself, I love challenges. Why? Because I know that there are opportunities for me to become bigger, to become better. So it's really the way that you view it, right? So let me give you an example, right? Fixed mindset people, they believe that the basic qualities like intelligence and talent are simply fixed traits, right? Common phrases are I'm bad at, I'm not smart as, I'll never understand it. I'm going to fail. That's fixed mindset. Growth mindset people, they believe that the most basic abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work, right? Brains and talents are just the starting point. Common phrases you'll hear growth mindset people say is I can, I will, I want to, I'm determined to, I'll work hard at, I believe. You've got to have a growth mindset if you want to become successful at anything, right? So let's talk a little bit more about what this looks like. Let's talk about what happens when you have a growth mindset. People that have a growth mindset, they're going to keep on trying until they succeed, right? They're going to learn from their feedback. They're going to put forth the right effort. Okay. People with a growth mindset, they view mistakes as opportunities. They love new challenges. They are not afraid to fail. They get inspired by others. They ask for help, right? They know progress takes time. They love learning. They love growing. They love development. That's a growth mindset. Okay. When you talk about this is something that is in the talent code by Daniel Coyle, the book. There was a study that was done. 400 fourth graders were studied in New York City. And round one, they gave them all the same test. And it was a very basic, easy test. And whenever they collected the test, they told the people that they took half the group, 200 of them, and said, you're smart at this, right? You're smart, you're smart, you're smart. The other ones, they said, you must have worked really hard at this. They gave them praise, right? They gave them praise. And the praise they gave them that had a major distinction because the praise that you hear is going to give you either a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. The praise that you give is going to give people a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. So I give you an example. The second round, they offered a harder test or an easier test. The first group, Group A, the You Are Smart group, the majority of them wanted an easier test because they didn't want to look bad. They didn't want to be, but the ones that were like, you worked hard at this, 90% of them chose a harder test. They wanted something more challenging. They wanted a bigger obstacle. And then the third round of the test, they gave them the same level test as the first time, right? And the Group A, 20%, the results were 20% lower than the first time. Group B was 30% higher than the first time. Praise has a lot to do with it. When you praise people, praise the biological process that creates the result. The result is not what you crave, it's the process. So I appreciate how hard you work. I love how hard you work, right? I appreciate your dedication. That type of praise is what grows people's in your mindset, right? Let's talk a little bit more about it. This is from Carol S. Dweck's book, Mindset. She says, praise is a powerful tool that can be significantly impact the individual's performance and mindset, okay? She says that by embracing an effort-based praise, right? Effort-based praise, praising the effort, okay? Encouraging a willingness to tackle challenges and continuously improve. So if you want people to want to step up, you praise them for their effort of how hard they work. On the other hand, over-reliance on results-based praise, praising people for the results they got, risk prompting a fixed mindset, leading to a reluctancy, right, to be able to take on new challenges and difficult tasks, okay? you want to make sure that you have a growth mindset. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about neutral thinking. Okay. This is something that this is the step number 3, neutral thinking. I was always taught, it's all about positive thinking. But I read a book by Trevor Moawad, right? And in this book, Trevor Moawad, it's called "It Takes What It Takes." He talks about what neutral thinking is, and let me kind of go over this a little bit, okay? Negative thinking is like I won't succeed. Negative thinking never works, okay? Never works. Positive thinking is a lot better than negative thinking, right? Positive thinking is I will succeed, okay? But there's something in between negative and positive thinking, and it's called neutral thinking. Okay, neutral thinking says this. Neutral thinking is if I do the work, I will succeed. If I don't do the work, I won't succeed. You see the difference? It's not that you won't succeed or you will succeed. It's if you do the work, you will succeed. This book changed the way that I view success. It helped me out a lot in the process of my life. Okay. And Trevor Moawad, he owns a company. He did it. He passed away, but he owned a company with Russell Wilson, right? And I think it was called Limitless Mind or whatever. But anyways, Trevor Moawad, he teaches some of these principles that, and he originally worked at a place called IMG Academy. I know Jose Luis' son went there for soccer, his two twins, right? He worked at IMG Academy as like the brain, helping people with their brain and mindset. And then he went on to start working with NFL athletes, NBA athletes, coaches, teams. And he took a lot of these principles that he taught and helped everybody understand that you can become successful. You've got to have neutral thinking, right? In the book, It Takes What It Takes, Trevor Moawad has one of my favorite quotes of all time. And he wrote this after talking to Vince Carter. He was doing some work with Vince Carter. And he asked Vince Carter, he said, Vince, after all these years, how are you able to do it? He was obviously, Vince played till he was 43 in basketball. And he went in to meet with Vince to talk to him, to help him with some mindset stuff. And they went in and it was real early morning, like 6 in the morning, and he was taking an ice bath. And he goes, "You're taking an ice bath? You're here this early? Practice doesn't start for another 3 hours." He goes, and he told him, he said, "It takes what it takes." See, and he wrote this speech and he gave it to Nick Saban. And Nick Saban used this speech before, a real popular speech by Nick Saban when he was at Alabama and he won the national championship, one of the years that he did. But this speech it says illusion is a choice. It's the illusion of choice. See, a lot of times people think that choice is a reality. The choice is an illusion. If you're committed to success and you're committed to your why and you're committed to making it happen, you don't have a choice. Because Vince Carter, he said, the reason why I can keep on playing is because of the way that I take care of my body. He said, the reason why I can play till I'm 43 is because I take care of my body. So if you want to play to your 43, he said, then basically you don't have a choice. And that's when he came up with this illusion of choice. See, a lot of times people feel that we have choices to make about what we want to do and where we want to go and what it takes to get there. The reality is it takes what it takes, okay, to succeed. It's not a choice. It takes what it takes. Anyone that runs a marathon will tell you that a mile 20 or 20 to 26 are the hardest. And anyone who quits running between 20 or mile 22 will tell you as soon as they quit, they immediately felt better. Immediately, man. They're running a marathon and then at 22 they quit. They say, man, I feel better. And that's very true. But days later, when they read about it, they read about the people that finished, who kept on running. Even when it was challenging, they kept on running. Trevor Moawad says that they have instant regret. See, when you don't have a choice, if you're committed to success and you're committed to making it happen, if you're committed to winning big, choice is an illusion. You got to keep on keeping on. And I love that when you talk about obviously neutral thinking, right? So now let's get into the step number 4, avoiding the attitude roller coaster. Okay, the attitude roller coaster. Okay, you got to avoid the attitude roller coaster. If you're not gonna, hey, if you're not gonna avoid it, at least you got to put the bar down, right? So you don't fly out of the roller coaster. So let's talk a little bit about what the attitude roller coaster is. Okay, 9 ways to avoid the attitude roller coaster. Okay, don't let your lows get too low, and don't let your highs get too high. Right? If you have a result, you get somebody started that you're really excited about, or you get a customer that you've always wanted to introduce to the products, and you get a result and you get too fired up about it, or somebody says no when you get too low, that's not the deal. You want to stay at an even kill. And the reason how you do that is be emotionally connected to the activity, not the results. Okay, I'm emotionally connected to the activity. I'm talking to people about the Riman opportunity. I'm not emotionally connected to the results they have. When I talk to people, I feel good. When I don't talk to people, I don't feel good. So I like to feel good. So I talk to people, right? So don't let your lows get too low and don't let your highs get too high. Remember that people won't follow people that can't control their emotions. Okay. You got to have long-term vision and build for the long haul. Okay. Always understand you want to manage your expectations, right? Maintain your composure. Don't look at what other people are doing. Sometimes we're like, oh my God, so and so hit director already. I've been in the same amount of time and I'm not even a team leader yet. Dude, don't compare yourself to other people because your chapter is not their chapter. Wherever you are right now in your life is perfect. I remember when I got involved in network marketing. I remember there was a person that got involved the same time as me, and then they blew by the ranks, and I was still struggling my first 6 months. And I was like, dang, I use it as inspiration. I'm like, hey, look, if God's blessing my neighbor, that means he's in the neighborhood, right? So get excited about other people's success. Cheer them on because you're next. Okay. So maintain your composure. Okay. If you don't have a guest, you need the meeting. If you've got the guest, the meeting needs you, right? Everybody's heard that before. Okay. Positives down. If you got something good to say, go down. You got something negative, talk to your sponsor, talk to your upline, talk to your upline leader. Okay. And if they can't deal with you, talk to somebody else. Talk to me, right? If you got something negative to say, talk to me about it, right? I've heard it all before. Okay. Attitudes are contagious. So you want to make sure yours is worth catching. That's the biggest thing about it, right? I talk to people in the organization, and some people are like, "Man, my organization is so excited," and then some people are like, "Oh, my organization is not excited." Well, it's not the people, it's you. It's you. How do you feel? How do you feel about the opportunity? How excited are you? When you're fired up, your people are going to be fired up, right? So don't say stupid stuff or put stupid stuff out loud. And this is the big one. I teach this to the kids that I coach. Don't say stupid stuff out loud. And I'm going to give an example. This is from the book Trevor Moawad talks about this, right? But Bill Buckner, a lot of you guys remember Bill Buckner. Okay, if you're a baseball fan, you definitely remember Bill Buckner. If you're not a baseball fan, I mean, if you're a Red Sox fan, you probably one of you wish Bill Buckner didn't exist. But in 1986 World Series, okay, he was instrumental in helping his team lose, obviously, that game. In the last inning, everybody was packing up and they're about to go home because the Red Sox had pretty much won the game. And Bill Buckner let a slow, routine ground ball go right through his legs, and the Mets went on to win it. Okay, but a few years ago, they found an old recording, an interview of Bill Buckner. This is wild. Okay. And this is what Bill Buckner said. He said the dream would be to win the World Series, but the nightmare would be to let the game-winning run score on a ground ball through my legs to cost us the World Series. He said stupid stuff out loud. Whatever you focus on is going to become your reality. If you say it's hard, then it's hard. If it's challenging, it's challenging. If it's easy, it's easy. You got to make sure that you don't have a case of stinking thinking. You've got to have a bulletproof mindset. And you've got to avoid the attitude roller coaster. Always remember that mindsets are contagious. Attitudes are contagious. Make sure that your attitude is worth catching. I love that. That's powerful. So, the road to success always under construction, right? View challenges, opportunities to grow. Adversity builds character. Adversity doesn't build character, it reveals it. So when you're going from point A to point B, there's going to be a challenge. But if you view it as a challenge, you're not going to have success. But if you view it as an opportunity, challenges are opportunities. That's the way I view them. Anytime it was interesting. On Tuesday, I was at football practice coaching my kids, and the best player on our team, his dad came up to me. He said, "Man, the best thing I ever heard you say was you said you've got to look at challenges as opportunities." A lot of the parents that I coach their kids, they gather around when I give my speeches at the beginning and end of practice. And he was like, that was so powerful. And when I was putting this training together, I thought about that. I thought about literally, I was putting the training together. Then I had to leave, go to football practice, came back, was finishing this training. And I realized that it's true. You've got to view a challenge as an opportunity because that's all they are. Anytime you have an obstacle or anytime you have a challenge or a setback, that's an opportunity. Right. I love what TD Jake says, Bishop TD Jakes. He says a setback is a setup for a comeback. The setback is a setup for a comeback. It's not going to, the road to success is always going to be under construction. So, like, give an example. If this is you and you're going from point A to point B, and you're just trying to overcome the challenge yourself, it might look like something like this, right? It might look a little bit like this, right? It might look like you jump over one challenge, you jump over one, you can't make it. See, the key is not to overcome the obstacle. The key is not to overcome the adversity. Let me tell you what the key is. The key is to outgrow it. The key is to outgrow it. outgrow the challenge, outgrow the adversity. Like if you're this big, those challenges don't exist. So grow yourself. And that's where that growth mindset comes into a reality. You're going to have challenges in anything. That's what life is. My mentor told me right when I got started, he says, Tim, you're either in a problem, coming out of a problem, or, or headed into a problem. He goes, life is not about avoiding problems. He goes, life's about becoming so big that your problems increase. And I was like, man, that's powerful. That's powerful. So I think we can all visualize that, imagine that. Look at challenges. God's not going to give you a challenge that you can't overcome, right? So you want to make sure that you welcome challenges because they're opportunities for growth, okay? So it's kind of like my mentor always used to tell me, a flowing river has trash in it. There's debris and trash in a flowing river. You just can't see it. He said, once it stops, that's when all the trash floats to the top. He said, people are no different than rivers. You just got to keep on keeping on. You got to keep on moving. You got to keep on moving no matter what. And if you're flowing and you're making it happen, it's kind of like what Henry Ford said. He goes, obstacles are those frightful things we see when we take our eyes off our goal. I like what Henry Ford's talking about. That's big time. Okay. So now let's talk a little bit about obviously the steps of bulletproof mindset number 5. Now we're going to start having some fun. Okay. I'm going to use some stuff from Think and Grow Rich today, right now in this section right here on bulletproof number 5. But here's what I want to show you is when you're climbing the ladder of success, you got to be aware of SNIOPs and TDSers, right? See, dream sealers. Okay. See, the 5% of the people are successful financially, 95% of the people aren't. And it's a ladder. Okay. You got to climb the ladder. So you want to realize that, a SNIOP is somebody's susceptibility to the negative influence of other people. You can't let people SNIOP you, right? You can't be susceptible to the negative influence of other people. See, the 95% are going to try to pull you down. My daughter, who's having her baby right now, she was 6, probably 6, maybe 5, probably 6 or 5. We were in Oahu, and her and I we'd always stay at the same resort, Hilton Hawaiian Village, and we would always go over, if you've been there, kind of where that jetty is, and we would always go there with a little bucket, and we would like catch crabs or catch fish or catch jellyfish one time. Okay, that's a funny story. I don't have time for it, but we were catching crabs, and we were throwing these crabs in the bucket, and she goes, "Daddy," she said, "Daddy, we got to put a lid on this bucket so the crabs won't get out." I said, "Babe, you don't have to worry about the crabs getting out." She goes, "What do you mean, Daddy?" I said, "They can't get out." She goes, "Why not?" I go, "As soon as they do, they start making a move for it, the other crab's going to pull them back down. And you could watch these crabs pulling each other back down." And then, fortunately, that's what happens in society today. You make a decision, you're going to change your life. Some people are going to try to stop you. They're going to try to discourage you. They're going to try to tell you that, you know what, whatever. You can't be susceptible to the negative influence of other people. Let's go into some Think and Grow Rich stuff because I love Think and Grow Rich, right? So here's some lessons. I'm going to give you 7 lessons from Think and Grow Rich that'll help you with this. Indecision is the ceiling of fear, right? Indecision is the ceiling of fear. Indecision crystallizes into doubt. And the two blend together to become fear. And these are the 6 basic fears: the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love of someone, the fear of old age, and the fear of death. This is from the last chapter of the book. And he talks about how you overcome all these fears. But the reason why I set that up is because of what he says next. He says there's something else. He calls it the devil's workshop. He says it's the 7th basic evil because it's more deeply seated and more fatal than all the other 6 fears combined. For want of a better name, let's call this evil susceptibility of negative influences. So he calls the devil's workshop the susceptibility of negative influences. He goes, those who accumulate great riches will always protect themselves against this evil. The poverty-stricken never do. Those succeed in any calling must prepare their minds to resist this evil. You got to prepare your minds for negative people. You can't let negative, discouraging people stop you from becoming successful. You got to have a bulletproof mindset, okay? So what he goes on to say, he says, recognizing the fact that you and every other human being are by nature lazy, indifferent, and susceptible. I love this. People are susceptible to all suggestions that harmonize with their weakness. That's powerful. People are susceptible to suggestions that harmonize with their weaknesses. So when somebody says something to you that you don't like, what Napoleon Hill's saying there is you're only susceptible to things that you believe are a reality. If it's a weakness that you feel about yourself and somebody points it out, now you're susceptible to it. See, when Miss Mitchell told me that I wasn't going to make it, when Miss Mitchell told me that I wasn't going to make it, I had a little bit of that doubt too. But instead of it discouraging me, it encouraged me. I said, I've got to make it happen no matter what. I got to make it happen no matter what. But if somebody told me, Tim, you're not going to make it, you think it would bother me? Absolutely not, because I know without a shadow of a doubt, when I got started in Riman, I knew I was going to blow it up. It wasn't even like, man, I hope this thing works. I hope I can make this happen. It was like, dude, it's how much, how fast, and who's going to be, who is it going to be? Who are going to be the people that are going to get wealthy with me? There was no doubting that I was going to make it happen. No doubt. You can't have products this good. You can't have a company this good, a story this good, 13 patents, giant tiger grass, water from a lava energy, like from a volcano. I knew it. There was nothing that could stop me from winning in this opportunity. I knew it. If somebody would have told me, hey, Tim, you're not going to make it, I would have just looked at them like they're crazy. Like, it's kind of like, it's like a gnat, like those little bugs, a little gnat trying to stop Superman. It can't be done. So when you know you're going to win, you're not going to be susceptible. You've got to believe without a shadow of a doubt that you're destined for greatness, that you're going to make it happen, that you're going to become a success. But you can't just believe that. You've got to back it up. So you got to have that neutral thinking. You can't be like, I'm going to make it happen no matter what. If I do the work, I'll make it happen. If I don't do the work, I'm not going to make it happen. And I'm going to do the work. That's neutral thinking, right? So this is what he says in the book number 6. He says, do not expect troubles, as they have a tendency not to disappoint. Don't expect troubles because they have a tendency not to disappoint. Life is a checkerboard, and the player opposite of you is time. If you hesitate before moving or neglect to move promptly, your pieces will be wiped off the board by time. You're playing against a partner who will not tolerate indecision. Time's going to keep on going, man. I'm sitting up here with one of my dear friends today. I'm like, damn, it's been so long. Time goes, man. That's why we got to go all out. Whatever you're doing, go after it like your life depended on it. Why? Like Les Brown says, because it does. I'm getting jacked up now. So now we got to eliminate. Now we're on number 6. I wish we had 10 of these bad boys. So now we're on number 6, right? We're going to go through number 6. Watch your negative self-talk. Talking about Les Brown, LB Triple P, Les Brown, your platter playing Papa. I had an opportunity to be able to have dinner. And I know many of you guys, I idolize Les. I don't think anybody idolizes Les like I do, man. I listened to his an audio that I got of his that was him speaking to an Amway convention. I don't know how the heck I got my hands on this thing, but it was always a dream of mine to do some speaking engagements with him, and had the opportunity to be able to do one. And I said, can I take out the dinner? And he was in town in Anaheim, and I took Les out to dinner at the Orange Hill restaurant. And I went there and brought my journal. And I was just trying to pick as many ideas from Les Brown as I could, because he's somebody that is, like, to me, the number one motivational, like, inspirational speaker of all time. And Les said something. He said, that we can think 1,000 words per minute, right? He said most people can think about 1,000 words per minute, right? And we can say about 125 words per minute, right? So there's always about 875 words that are going through your mind that are unaccounted for. He said that most people don't think, they just simply recycle their fears, their doubts, and their self-imposed limitations. Think about what I'm saying. Don't tell me how good you are communicating with other people. How good are you communicating with yourself? That's where the magic's at. It's your internal dialogue. It's that intra-personal communication skills, not inter. Let me help you understand something. I would take somebody that can talk to themselves really well over somebody that can talk to other people real well any day of the week. People that can talk to other people really well can quickly become show ponies. But people that can talk to themselves, they become workhorses. See, I'm a workhorse. I'm not polished. There's a lot better presenters than I am. I'm not trying to be the best. I'm just trying to outwork everybody. I'm just outworking everybody. Nobody's going to work like I'll work. And when you're working, you can't really be fearful, right? When you can't, it's kind of like what Yogi Berra says, you can't think and hit the ball at the same time. When you're taking action and you're talking about the opportunity, you're not doubting yourself. It's all about taking action. Let's talk a little bit more about this. I love this. Some people find fault like there's a reward for it, right? When you look at these numbers, 1 + 1 is 2. Honestly, what do you see? 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4, 3 + 3 is 6, 4 + 4 is 7, 5 + 5 is 10. See, my mentor showed this to me a long time ago, and everybody in the room was like, hey, 4 + 4 is 8, not 7. I didn't even really realize that, or I wasn't even paying attention. But most people, when they look at it, they go 4 + 4 is 8, not 7. Because we've been designed to look for what's wrong with things. We've been designed to look for fault. See, it's the same thing with us. If you look for what's wrong with stuff, it'll expand. If you look for what's right with stuff, it'll expand. Whatever you focus on expands. There's a book called The 1 Minute Millionaire, right? And one of my favorite books of all time is that book because it helped me out a lot when I was going through a very challenging time in my career. My wife and I just got started in a new business. Business wasn't going great, and we weren't doing well financially. I just came from a company that stopped paying for 6 months. My friend owned it, and I was trying to help him get this company off the ground. We couldn't get it done. So I ended up making a transition to another company. And when I got started in that company, it wasn't growing like wildfire. And I read that book, 1 Minute Millionaire. And in that book, it said, I'm a money magnet. Money comes to me often and frequently. I'm a money magnet. There's a section that talks about that. So it said, you got to repeat that to yourself over and over again. That's where you see money magnets. That's where that originated from. That's where that corporation name came from. Is I'm a money magnet. Money comes to me often and frequently. And I can remember saying that I was broke. I was thinking to myself, how the heck is this going to work? I'm a money magnet. But I started to believe it. I started to believe I'm a money magnet. I started to see myself that way. I started to visualize myself that way. And I realized it's kind of what T.R. Becker says, right? If you complain, you become a walking, breathing poop magnet, right? So you want to make sure you're focusing on what you want, not what you don't want. Focus on what you want to see become a reality. And that book changed my life, right? The 1 Minute Millionaire by Mark Victor Hansen. And it was that one chapter. The whole rest of the book was okay, but it was that one chapter. There's a couple good points in it, but that chapter was what got me jacked up because I needed it at that time of my life. What are you focusing on? What is your focus? What's your primary focus? Are you focusing on the negativity? Or are you focusing on the positivity? Right? Oh, I talk to people all the time. They're like, oh, I'm better getting customers than I'm recruiting. It's not that you're better getting customers than you are recruiting. The ratios are different. I'll talk more about this next week, but the ratios are different. That's all it is, right? So just understand. We'll talk. I don't want to go. I'll get more into that next week. But let me just talk to you about this. If A is 1, T is 2, like 20. So if you look at A is the first letter in the alphabet, T is the 20th letter, I is the 9th, and you add it all up, it's 100%, right? So if you take the word attitude, why is it 100? Right? Because 100% is going to come down to your attitude. Make sure your attitude is worth catching, right? I love this. When you look at your mind, I learned this from George Zelicki. He was a mentor of mine. He's got some amazing audio programs. I learned a lot from George. And George taught me this. And he said that you've got a conscious mind and a subconscious mind, right? And your conscious mind is the captain, and your subconscious mind is the crew. So basically what it is you've got two minds, right? And basically your conscious mind is the captain. Your conscious mind is going to say, whatever you program your conscious mind to do, your unconscious mind is going to find a way to make it happen. Okay. Whatever your conscious mind says, your unconscious mind is going to do. Okay. So let me give you an example of what I'm saying, right? If your conscious mind says we can't, then your crew says we won't. We can't do that. This is why your self-talk is important. Then the crew says we won't. You've got to think in your mind that you can do it. You got to believe that you can find a way to make it happen. But if your captain says, hey, look, you know what? How can we? Crew says, well, we'll figure it out. Your conscious mind is going to determine what your subconscious mind does. You've got a brain. Every one of us have got a brain, right? It doesn't matter how good yours are. It's not about how good your brain is. I tell people all the time, oh, I'm not very smart. People are like, don't say that about yourself. Why? I'm not trying to win Jeopardy. It's not about how smart you are. It's not how good your brain works. It's what you do with your brain. It's about what you focus on. I meet smart people all the time that are fault finders. I meet smart people all the time that tell me 100 reasons why things can't work. I don't listen to that person. I find the people that tell me why it will, right? Those are the people that I want to talk to. So in my mind, what do? I focus on how to make things happen. How do we make it happen? You want to go director and you want to go to Jeju Island? How can we do that? How are we going to get you to director? You want to go see your director? How are we going to do that? You want to go national director? How are we going to get you there? How are we going to make it happen? How can we get you there? That's the question asked. Not can you, how can you? How can you you want to go team leader by June 1st so you can, be in a position to win the most from the new level compensation plan that's going to drop? How can we do that? How can we? If you focus on the how, that's what, look, my goals are right here, right on my screen. And it's in the form of a question. What must I do right now to what my goal is? Okay. When I got started in Riman, that was what it was. What must I do right now to make 100,000 a month? What must I do right now to make 100,000 a month? What must I do to make 100,000 a month? I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. But it happened. No, because I focus on what must I do right now? Your brain will figure it out. You've got the ability to figure it out. You just got to focus your brain on it. So you've got to watch your conversations and your dialogue with yourself, right? So people that haven't learned to win yet and winners, right? Let's talk a little bit about this. People that haven't learned to win yet say, I can't. Winners say, how can I? Right? People haven't learned to win yet say, it's too hard. Winners say, how can I get better? Right? People haven't learned to win yet say, it doesn't work. Winners say, how can I make it work? People haven't learned to win yet says, no one's interested. Winners find a way. What do they say? How can I get people interested? People that haven't learned to win yet say, I can't figure it out. Winners say, how can I figure it out? It's the quality of the questions you ask yourself are going to be the determining factor of your life. That's why your internal dialogue is more important than any other conversation you have with anybody else. That's the key. What are you saying to yourself? You got to be your biggest cheerleader, right? You got to be able to believe you can make it happen. We got 2 more left and we're going to wrap this thing up. I wish we could talk more, but it's going to be it. Okay. Raise and share your level of enthusiasm. I love enthusiasm. If I have one secret sauce, it's enthusiasm. Okay. And let's talk a little bit about what enthusiasm is, right? The 6 keys to understand the power of enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is the way that you hold life's possibilities. It shows up in your demeanor. Think about what I'm saying. Enthusiasm is the way that you hold life's possibilities. It shows up in your demeanor, right? Enthusiasm is the most contagious of all human emotions. Okay. Enthusiasm is the best, is the best cosmetics. Okay. You want to know what the best cosmetics is? ICD. But after ICD is it's enthusiasm, right? I mean, the best cosmetic you can use is enthusiasm, right? If you're excited, people. I mean, you just look better, right? So you use our products and you're excited. Now we're talking, right? That's why these Friday trainings are so important. It's not what you know; it's how you feel about what you know. Right? You'll scare 1 out of 10 people away by being not enthusiastic enough, but you'll scare 9 out of 10 people away by not being enthusiastic enough. So I'm going to scare 1 out of 10 people away by being too enthusiastic. But I'll scare, but most people are going to scare 9 out of 10 away by not being enthusiastic enough. Okay, be the most positive and enthusiastic person that you know. Right? You got to have a good attitude and enthusiastic, man. Are you the most enthusiastic person that you know? What is enthusiasm? It's the way that you hold life's possibilities. It shows up in your demeanor, in the way that you walk, in the way that you talk. You got to raise your level of enthusiasm. How do you do that? Right? We're going to talk a little bit about what that looks like. We got to raise and share it. So it starts with faith. If you want to write down the acronym, write down FEAR, fear. Okay. Fear stands for, this is a fear cycle, right? And I'm not talking about the fear that most people are talking about. I'm talking about the fear that's going to get you rich. The F stands for faith. We all know, right? The faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains, right? Mustard seeds are small. So you need a little bit of faith. There's no such thing as a little bit of faith. It's either absolute faith or no faith. It can't be light and dark at the same time. Faith, you got to have the faith. If you've got faith, fear and faith can't coexist. My mentor taught me this. He said, fear and faith can't coexist. You've got to have absolute faith, absolute certainty, right? You got to know without a shadow of a doubt it's going to become a reality. And that when that faith is through the roof, that enthusiasm will naturally become a reality. Because enthusiasm, the last 4 letters are IASM. I am sold myself. I am sold myself. I believe, right? I have that faith. And I know that the results are going to become a reality, right? So when you have that faith and you get in that enthusiasm, it's going to trigger you to take action. You're excited. You want to transfer this emotion to other people, right? You want to share the opportunity. You want to share the products. You want to get people on the Saturday call that's going on with Spencer and Jermaine on Saturday. You want to get people on the Monday call with Christy Bellison and Jen Barzamian. You want to get people exposed to the opportunity. You want to talk to people. You want to get the product on people. You want to share the makeup with people. You want to share the photo lab. You want to share it all because you're enthusiastic because you have that faith that you're going to become successful. You have the faith that the results that you believe are going to show up for yourself. And you're excited about that. You're enthusiastic about that. You're passionate about that. I was just talking to one of my best friends over here at his house. I said, man, it's all about passion. Because when you're passionate about something, it's not a grind. When you're passionate about something, it's a labor of love. I love what I do. I love this because I know I'm going to help so many people become wealthy with the Riman opportunity. Build this thing to $10 billion a year. I'm excited about that because I have the faith. I know without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, it's going to become a reality. I know in my heart, without a shadow of a doubt in my heart, it's going to become a reality. I know it. So that faith has got that enthusiasm, right? That I am so myself, right? I'm fired up, contagious of all human emotions, enthusiasm. And then you take action. You start sharing it because you can't just be enthusiastic. You got to talk to people. You got to be more like Tigger, less like Eeyore. More like Tigger, less like Eeyore. Always go right back to the 100-acre woods. Everything that we know to be successful right there. And then guess what? When you take action, you're going to get the results. It's going to strengthen your faith. But you don't focus on the results. Focus on the faith. Focus on the faith. Raise that faith. Raise that belief system. Raise that confidence. You got to know it. And that faith is going to get you enthusiastic. It's going to get you to take action. It's going to get you the results. Let's talk a little bit about raising our enthusiasm. When you love the products, you share the enthusiasm. You're transferring that emotion. When you love the products and transfer that emotion, it turns into a new customer. Right? When you love the opportunity and share your enthusiasm, you transfer that emotion, it becomes a brand new what? Brand new planner. Right? When you love working, I love working because it's not work, it's passionate. I'm passionate about working. I love this. I love sharing this business with people. I share that enthusiasm. I transfer that emotion. I motivate my team. How do I motivate my team, Tim? Fall more in love with working. How do I get more people involved in the opportunity? Fall more in love with the opportunity. How do I get more customers? Fall more in love with the products and transfer that emotion enthusiastically to other people, and you're going to get the results. It's not that difficult. You can do it, right? We in fact, we're all doing it together. Let's make it happen. So now, my favorite one, steps to the bulletproof mindset number 8. 8 of 8. I hope these have served you. Hope you've gotten a little bit of value from some of this stuff. Hope some of this stuff spoke to your heart. But number 8 is this. If it is to be, it is up to me. The 10 most powerful 2-letter words ever put together. If it is to be, it is up to me. If it is to be, it is up to me. You got to ask yourself, are you a toe in or all in, right? Are you a toe dipper? Toe dippers don't become successful. If you came over to if you you bring somebody else like, hey, let's go swimming, and you dip your toe in the water and say, hey, let's jump in, people aren't going to believe you. If you're like, let's go swimming, and you jump in, you're leading by example. You got to be an all in, not a toe in. Don't give me your toe, go all in, right? You can't be a toe dipper. You can't be dipping your toe in the water. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, the 7 reminders. Okay, these are 7 mindset tips, right? When you're building your distribution, right, and you're sharing this opportunity to people, look at everybody as they say, help me, written on their forehead. Look at everybody as they say, help me, written on their forehead. It's not about what's in it for you. It's what's in it for them. It's about what this opportunity can do for them. Last week, when we talked about overcoming objections, we talked about win-win agreements, right? We talked about being more focused on the person, not the transaction, being more relational than transactional, right? It's not about transactional. It's about relational. It's about caring about people enough to make sure that you follow with them, get them started in the business, right? It's about every person that you share with Riman with. It's like opening up a Christmas gift. It's like opening up a birthday gift. Every time I talk to somebody about the Riman opportunity, guess what's happening? I'm opening up a gift. Why? Because I don't ever know what's going to happen. I get on a Zoom with somebody and I share the opportunity with somebody, opening up a gift. Might be a sweater that I don't want. It might be, the gift that I've always been looking for. So you never know. All you got to do is what? Share, right? Share. Here's what I want to share with you with this. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. They are what they are before you talk to them. They already are what they are before you talk to them. You got to realize that, the more you say, the more they judge. The less you say, the less they judge. You don't want to fire hose people, man. You're just looking for the lookers, right? You're looking for the people that are looking for you. I love this because it's TTMP, right? Talk to more people. Talk to more people. When I get done talking to people, guess what I do? I talk to more people. And then when I get done talking to more people, I talk to more people. And then after I get done talking to people, I talk to more people. Just talking to people. Talking to people, talking to people, talking to people. Talking to more people. That's the secret of this business. The secret of this business is don't keep it a secret, right? Your lips are paid for, start flapping, right? Build your business with expectancy. You got to visualize people getting started. You got to know that everybody's getting in. You got to have that faith and confidence. When you share the Riman opportunity with somebody, they're going to be more excited than you are about it. That's how it is. They're going to be like, oh my God, thank you so much. Right? I expect everybody to be fired up. I expect everybody, when I get done sharing Riman. Now, does that always happen? Not always. But actually it does happen. Why? Because I don't remember the ones that say no. Ones say no, I don't remember. Ones that say yes do. Right? We're going to be in Cancun in a couple weeks. We're going to be sitting at that pool bar. We're going to be drinking some drinks. And I'm going to turn to some of you guys. I'm going to say, hey, you remember who said no? As I'm drinking a little umbrella drink, and you're going to look at me and you're going to be drinking your umbrella drink, and you're going to say, I don't remember who said no. And we're going to look over there and we're going to see another. Do you remember who said no? Well, we're going to remember who said yes, because they're going to be sitting there right along with us drinking a little umbrella drink. What I'm telling you is this. People say no to me, but I just forget it. I don't have a very smart memory. I don't have a good memory when it comes to bad experiences. Why? Because I'm too focused on the good things that are happening. Boom, right? Focus on making it happen. timing is more important than talent, right? It's all about the timing where that person is in their life, and everybody's going to get started either now or later. Doesn't matter. Just keep on keeping on. Just keep on talking to people. Let's talk a little bit more about this. Always remember apples, 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 right? It's kind of like when you go to an orchard, right? And you know, imagine that you had a little bucket when you're looking for ripe apples, and you reach your hand in there and you grab a red apple. You're like, red apple, ready to go. Let's go. Sign them up ASAP. Welcome to the team. Reach in there, pull a red apple out. Man, they love the product. So sign them up as a customer ASAP. Reach in there, pull a green apple out, right? And they're like, oh, you know, they got questions. Not yet. Okay, put them over there. Let them chill. Reach in there, red apple. All right, boom, they're coming over here with me. Reach in there, grab a green apple. Okay, we'll follow with you later. Reach in there, you feel something squishy. Feel something squishy. And what is it? A rotten apple. What's a rotten apple going to try to do? They're going to try to talk you out of it. What do you do? Throw that rotten apple. And then what do? Reach in there again. So all I'm sharing with you guys is we sort, don't sell, right? All that matters is I'm looking for the lookers. I'm looking for the people that are looking for me. I'm looking for people that want to make it happen, that want to become a success, that want to make their dreams and goals become a reality. What are you looking for? Hopefully the same thing. I'm not trying to turn a green apple red. That's going to take time. And I'm definitely not trying to take a rotten apple and turn it red. That's impossible, okay? All I'm doing is I'm looking for the lookers. I'm looking for the people that are looking for me. And if it is to be, it is up to me, right? All I got to do is talk to more people. So I'm going to give you the parable of the sower. Many of you guys know this. Couple messages about the parable of the sower. Number one is this: the sower was ambitious and had excellent seed, right? And I think we got some pretty excellent seed at Riman, right? I think we got the best skincare products that have ever been invented in the history of skincare products. I don't even think it's skincare, skin repair. I think we've got the best opportunity on the planet. That's what I believe. I think we've got the best seed there is. But just because you have excellent seed, you still got to be ambitious. And guess what you got to do? You got to plant the seeds, right? So what happened was the ambitious sower went out to sow the seeds, and he started to sow the seeds, and some of the seeds fell by the wayside, and the birds got it. Now, whenever the seed goes by the wayside and the birds get it, what do? You can go chase birds. If you chase birds, you're not planting seeds. What the sower do? He just kept on sowing, and he kept on sowing, and some of the seed fell on rocky ground where the soil was shallow, and it started to grow. And the first hot day, withered and died. What did he do? Kept on sowing. He kept on sowing, did he? Sower just kept on sowing. And then some of the seed fell on thorny ground, and it started to grow, and then the thorns choked it. What are thorns, right? Little cares, right? Little challenges, right? The seed starts growing, and I can't figure out my website domain name, and then choke them to death. I was getting started, and come up with some excuse, right? You could just hear the thorns choking them out, right? What's the sower do? Keeps on sowing. So what does the sower do? Just keeps on sowing the seed. And finally, the seed falls on good ground. And if you're taking notes, you can write this down. It always does. You can't share a good idea long enough and not fall in the right people's hands. There's 300 million people just in the US alone. You only need a handful of people to go to the top. So realize if you share a good idea long enough, it's going to fall on the right people. And what the story says is some of the good ground produced 30%, some ground produced 60%, some of the good ground produced 100%. Why is that? We don't know. All we know is that's the way it is. Somebody says it shouldn't be that way. Well, then when you get your own planet, maybe you can figure out another way to do it. But what we got here, that's the way it is. So what do? I just keep on sowing. I just keep on sowing. I keep on sowing. And you know why? Because there's no limit to seed and there's no limit to ground. Because you guys got to always remember, all we got to do is plant the seed. We don't have to grow the tree. That would be the hard part. If I gave you a seed and say, figure out how to turn this into a tree. You ever seen an oak tree? What? How are you going to make one of those? We don't have to worry about that. I don't do that. All we got to do is plant the seeds, right? So call to action. Let's do a little bit of call to action here. Let's talk a little bit about it, right? Have 5 guests on a Saturday. Look, if not now, then when? If not you, then who? And if not this, then what? But I can guarantee you guys, this is going to happen. There ain't no stopping this deal. There's a 0% chance that we aren't all going to make it happen as long as we lock arms and don't let go. Okay? So you got to have 5 guests on the opportunity presentation on Monday, on Saturday. Saturday's going to be straight fire. Spencer Iverson, Jermaine Johnson, you already know that. Monday night, Christy Bellison, Jen Barzamian, JB and KB. Come on, it's gonna be off the Richter scale. You got to make sure you got guests on there though. Just because we have a perfect call, if you don't have any guests there, it doesn't benefit you. Talk to more people, right? So qualify for the Recruit 3500 promotion. once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, whatever, but make sure you take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. Never been a better time than right now. This thing's going to go like wildfire. Get your tickets for the roadmap event right now. When are you going to get the roadmap? I'm telling you, be a first minute person and a last minute type person. Time to take action is now, right? And here's what I want to share with you is this. Rank advance a team leader before June 1st. If you want to be a team leader, do it before June 1st, right? Whenever that new compensation plan launches, oh my God, it is going to be unbelievable. Don't let this moment in time slip through your fingertips. And I can tell you right now, this is going to be the biggest close any month that we've ever had. I'm going to tell you right now because of the training I'm going to be doing next week. Friday's training, the 7 keys to close a month strong, will be the most unbelievable call to action that we've ever had to help us all close this month out in a big way. This is our time to do something special. This is our time to be able to do something great. You got to say to yourself right now that I'm going to make it happen no matter what. I'm going to go to the top no matter what. I'm going to be a success no matter what. I'm going to get the job done no matter what. I'm going to do whatever it takes, as long as it takes, no matter what. I'm going to the top. My dreams and goals are going to become a reality with this opportunity. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to be a success. I'm making it happen no matter what. This is it. This is my time to make it happen. This is my time to be a success. This is my time to make my goals and dreams become a reality. And I'm going to give it everything that I got. I'm giving it everything that I got. This is it. This is our time. This is our chance. Let's make a commitment in our mind, make a commitment in our heart that nothing can stop us. Nothing can get, there's nothing that can stop us. I love what Benjamin Disraeli once said. He said, nothing can resist the human will that will stake its existence on its purpose, right? Nothing can resist the human will that will stake its existence on its purpose. Friday training, close a month strong. I'm telling you right now, let's get a bunch of brand new people on there and let's close this month out in a big way. This moment in time is never going to be recreated again. This moment in time is never going to be duplicated again. We're building a legacy company here right now. And it starts here, it starts down, it starts with you. Make up your mind right now that you're not just going to be a part of it. You're going to sit back and be a quiet member of the association and just listen and learn. You're going to step up and you're going to play a major role. We're looking for you to step up. We're looking for you to be a leader. We're looking for you to take over the market. This is it. This is your time. This is your chance. This is our time to make it happen. You've got to be saying to yourself right now, this is my time. This is my chance. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to step up. I'm going to get the job done. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody's time. Hopefully you guys got some great information. Let's go all out massive action. Let's make it happen, you guys. We'll see you guys all next Friday. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to make it happen tomorrow. God bless you guys. Thanks for joining us. Man,